Malicious code or malware is a software that runs on a system without the owner's informed consent, often producing unintended and unwanted effects. It is a program that is intended to do something malicious to you that's either installed with kind of your half consent. They either lie to you about what it is, or you never even get a chance to avoid installing it at all, as maybe with a web drive-by attack. Malware can be any of the following. A tool used to gather information about a network or host. They may be just installing malware on a machine to do some reconnaissance. Tools used by intruders to exploit vulnerabilities. This is kind of a no-brainer. Typically, you want to install a tool to carry something out if you're a malicious actor. Tools installed by intruders on compromised hosts. That's very typical. If you want to really spread, you can install on maybe a lower level host in a company and then move laterally through it. So if you attack someone in HR and you get a beachhead there, you can use that host machine to work your way through other hosts, through other users' machines throughout the network. Malware targets. Malware targets are always shifting. When things get harder to attack, attackers find new things to attack. Typically, vulnerabilities don't last forever. Remote buffer overflow is still a thing, but people have gotten really smart about stopping it, including writing programming languages that really make it difficult to even engineer buffer overflow vulnerabilities into your software. Microsoft browser documents and browser exploits, both are still extremely popular, and PDF and Flash exploits are all popular as well. In addition, strangely enough, online games are targets because they can be used to steal people's credentials and empty accounts of what people believe are valuable assets. And since people believe they're valuable assets, people will actually pay money for, say, in-game currency in a MMORPG or something like that. And because of that, they can also be used to launder money. So, say in the massively multiplayer online game World of Warcraft, a person could steal someone's gold and sell that gold to another player in order to launder money. In the past few years, there's been an increase in the number of social networking sites, which are a tempting target for attackers as a means of propagating malware and collecting personal information. Facebook has been around quite a while now. Twitter's been around quite a while too. In addition, you have Instagram, Snapchat, providing plenty of personal photographs and more personal information for people, although that is harder for hackers to take advantage of, considering it's images and not necessarily text. But Facebook and Twitter are incredibly dangerous for people because not only are they somewhere where you put a lot of information out about yourself, they're also very popular means of communications between people. A lot of people use Facebook to stay in touch with old friends, and when your friend posts a link up on Facebook, you might click on it without really thinking about it, considering it's not just a spam email, it's your buddy. And then you're infected with the phishing virus that the virus on your friend's computer is spreading. Interestingly enough, Twitter's also been seen as a command and control channel for malware. In the malicious actor tool known as a botnet, Twitter can be used as a way for attackers to command their machines they've taken control of to attack a particular actor or network or etc. HTTPS is also being used as a bot command and control mechanism. This is really clever because not only is HTTPS traffic not really the most well-examined, it's encrypted. So you have the ability to pass traffic between your bot and your hosts that is actually not easily readable. And also there's URL shortening sites such as Bitly that make it easy to pass less suspicious looking links. So when you used to get phishing emails before, you'd see long links in emails that would inherently look kind of suspicious because the URLs were strange and they didn't look familiar. But with Bitly, you can, and more importantly, people are getting used to links that are concatenated kind of, and that are just generally not familiar looking. So we spend a lot of time differentiating among various types of malware. Today we see more blended threats, and that's why I'm not going to go through and define every single one of these. I'm just going to talk about a few of them, because a lot of them really are similar. They share a lot of similar features. You don't really see a lot of viruses anymore that don't try and disguise themselves as something else. Or worms are generally extremely uncommon because they depend on the ability to spread without interaction from a user. But what we do see a lot of, a backdoor is kind of not really a piece of malware, but the consequence of a piece of malware. It's the ability for an attacker to remotely access some system or network after they've kind of gotten themselves inside at first. Spyware adware is still around. You may be more familiar with it as the Ask Jeeves toolbar at this point, but that kind of stuff still pops up. A lot of it's been legislated away, and a lot of it's been taken care of through various security tools, but occasionally it still pops up, and pop-ups and dangerous spyware are still a thing, just rarer. Botnets are any type of malicious code that exploits a machine, and the attacker takes control of that machine for further use for other things. Botnets send out the internet spam. They launch the internet's denial of service attacks, another thing. And finally, we have rootkits. Rootkits are an interesting form of malware because they exist on the computer at or below the level of the operating system, making them more difficult to detect. So a lot of malware will operate in Windows as a program. A rootkit might operate as a driver in Windows, or even sometimes as a piece of hardware driver in some portion of a computer that Windows can't even access. So it's really impressive stuff. Be careful with definitions, kind of the corollary to the last slide. You probably heard the term advanced persistent threat. A lot of threats can be advanced and not persistent, and a lot of persistent threats aren't as advanced as some of the attackers out there stealing your bank information. Maybe they just have more resources. Rootkits, we talked about the definition of a rootkit just now. Just be careful that you really understand what it is when people are pitching things to you, because a rootkit has a pretty specific definition, something that exists at or below the level of the operating system. And finally, we have a zero-day. So a zero-day exploit is any vulnerability that exists on a system that is then published or used, and that use or that publication is observed in the wild. So you can be a researcher and publish a white paper on a zero-day vulnerability you found, and that's a zero-day. Or someone can have been using an exploit for 3 months, and then a security researcher catches it, then that's also a zero-day, because the zero-day is the first day you can respond to it, in essence.